Hello, and welcome back to You Are Whole. This is a space to return to for your own inner clarity and truth. Today, we're exploring the element of air, which in the You Are Whole framework is about mind mastery. So, remember the three core ideas that are central to your own wholeness. You are whole, you are powerful, and you do not need fixing. And there are 4 pathways to that place: mind mastery, air; action mastery or behavior mastery, earth; emotional mastery, water; and purpose mastery, fire. And today I want to talk about the idea of air and the mind. And there's going to be 3 things that I'm going to guide you through today. The first is the nature of mind. And it's very much like the wind. I'm just watching the wind outside now. It's unpredictable. It comes and it goes and it flows, stops and starts. So it's a little bit like you trying to predict the weather, mastering your mind. So the nature of mind. The second is mind and its relationship with your own inner attention as an inner skill. And the third is the relationship between and role of meditation and its impact on mind and how you work with your own thoughts. So if you're ready, let's begin. First of all, if we think about the nature of mind, the Hermetic principle and the fundamental spiritual principle around mind is that all is mind. And the way I resonate with that, and you may too, is the idea that reality is created from our thoughts. That our own inner identity and inner being and how we truly feel and think about ourselves is reflected in our external reality. So we truly create from mind. And in God's mind or in Source's mind, at the very core of existence is a thought. So what you give attention to expands. And you'll notice that with your thoughts. So if a thought comes into your mind and you place attention on it, it'll get louder. There'll be another thought. If you let the thought go like the wind, it'll shrink and won't be as much energy to it. So if you feed air, if you feed mind with your attention, you create more of it in your experience. So in terms of the nature of mind, there's sort of 2 broad categories of thought. There's the drama mind and the constant chatter of the material mind. So it's constantly reminding us of things that we have done or haven't done, mistakes we've made, what people think of us. And it's fairly constant. If you live in the world we live in, it'll remind you of things happening in the world that you aren't even in your community or in your household. And it will constantly, if you notice, try and place or distract you away from your inner mind, from your awareness mind or your source mind, which I'll talk about next. Some who are lucky are able to master their mind in a way that they're able to place their attention on their source mind. You know, other people call this awareness or consciousness, cosmic mind. My direct experience of this is the nothingness beyond thought. And when we place our attention here and we can rest here and relax here, we just flow with experience of life. It doesn't stop thoughts, but we don't give as much attention to them. And we start to identify as, we start to disidentify from our thoughts. So when we understand the nature of mind, we begin to manage our suffering in a different way. When I say suffering, suffering comes from the thoughts that we have about our own life. So we tend to have this identity we create as this person that's suffering through the world, that's got all these problems. And when we can disidentify or disentangle our attention and our connection to that self, a new mind will arise. So how do you manage your own attention? And I really call this the art of discernment. The first step is being able to have a level of distance between you and your thinking. And when I say distance, I remember for years I would be driving around in my car, I'd be walking through the bush, I'd be with people in a restaurant, and I wouldn't be present. I'd be thinking about my own life, I'd be thinking about what I'm ordered, I'd be thinking about what hasn't come in the restaurant, why my meal hasn't come, and I wasn't directly experiencing that moment. I was experiencing my thoughts in my mind. Meditation really helps, which is what I'm going to talk about next, with managing your attention. However, if I was to give you a recommendation about where you start with creating this discernment between your thoughts, it would be to aim to not give attention to any of your thoughts for a period of time. It might take months, it might take years for you to be at a place where you can watch all of your thoughts and not give any attention to them. Learn to create that space between you and your thinking. Find that witness consciousness, what they call it. And this will fundamentally change how you relate to yourself and also you relate to your own thinking. Once you can create this distance, then you can see the dialogue and discern the dialogue for what it is. My experience has been that the thoughts that create the most suffering are the self-referential thoughts, the ones where we judge ourselves, we think negatively about ourselves, and we especially compare ourselves to others. So you'll notice with thinking that there's two things. It's either fixated on what it wants, or it's resisting reality. Either one of the two. Rather than being completely okay with experience and where you are, it's doing one of those two things. So once you can discern those thoughts and not give any attention to them, you start bringing the power back. That's when you become really powerful within, because it starts giving you back the power over your own thinking. So how do we start with that? This is part 3, which is about meditation and mind. A regular meditation practice, whatever that looks like for you, is really important for you to train your attention. So my practice is now 24/7. So I'm constantly meditating, essentially. I'm constantly aware of mind. But to begin with, I had to begin a practice where I broke the pattern of my constantly attending mind, which just overflowed with thoughts. I did that through introducing meditation. So at least there were periods when I could discern the thoughts that I was having, rather than just coming like flowing. It was like a wind, constant wind. Whereas then with meditation, at least you might have 2 20-minute periods a day where you can sit back from that constant flow. There's probably 3 or 4 areas that are important around that. One is that when you sit to meditate, could be standing, could be lying down, could be sitting. For me, it's lying down. It works for me. Just always has. Some other people go to sleep. I don't. Or you could be sitting or you could be walking, whatever works best for you. And the idea is that you give attention to your breath and your body, and you relax as much as possible as thoughts go through your mind. And you relax and allow them to be there without responding to them. Doesn't matter what they are. And so you keep your attention within your body, heart, breath, and just watch the thoughts go past. And you'll notice your attention gets distracted on some thoughts, and then you'll notice that and you'll come back into the body and just relax and let the thought go. And as you do this over time, you'll create that space I talked about between you and your thoughts. And then that can, over time, extend out into all experience, all day, all night. So I hope that's a good little introduction to the air element. Remember, air is mind mastery. And we talk about the mind as air because it's so unpredictable and it's moving so fast and quickly. It's so hard to try and capture air in a bag or something is probably the right analogy. And getting to a point where you are whole and powerful, one of the major or one of the most important skills and areas of practice is mind mastery. And that's a little introduction to how that works. I hope that's been useful. And we'll see you next time on the You Are Whole channel. Take care. Bye.